What does Aetrex bring to that whole equation, which is very important to us?
For us, really, everything starts with the foot scan, and the development of our footwear and orthotics do come from the learnings and the data from our foot scanning. For example,
why should I go get my foot scanned?
You want to get your foot scanned just for fit. Not only we learn a lot about your feet, but we can custom select an orthotic underfoot based on your arch type and your pressure points, and we can get you in the right shoe.
What do you think is the next stages in terms of the technology and footwear?
It's never static, so we're working on...
Welcome to the Comfort Walk and Talk, where every step towards comfort is a step towards a healthier you.
We're your hosts,
Jeff,
Allanah,
And Ben.
Together, let's transform our lives from the ground up. Welcome to our next episode of Comfort Walk and Talk. I'm here with Ben and Allanah. And we've got a pretty special episode tonight. It's an episode we're actually going to be talking to a business partner of ours in New York. So we're in the middle of summer here, and in New York, I think they're getting towards the cold time.
Cold and dark.
Cold and dark. So it's quite a distinct difference in environments. But listen, we're here to talk about Atrex. Last year, we started a journey with Atrex, and that is in terms of our business in Australia and New Zealand and Singapore. And basically, we're going to talk about what is Atrex with the CEO of Atrex, Larry Schwartz. Atrex is considered, it started in 1946 and considered the world leader in foot scanning. And we're going to be very interested. That's one of the big reasons why we started working with Atrex. For more than 74 years, Atrex has been going, and we're going to learn a little bit about the story with Larry. Atrex focuses on pressure and alignment, and we're going to hear more about that. Atrex has been a leader, a little bit like Microsoft and Apple in this industry. You know, you think of computers, you think Microsoft and Apple, you think foot scanning, Atrex is the one. And we really want to start to bring that, and explain that to our consumer base today. Larry, along with his brothers Matt and Evan, are the drivers of Atrex. Larry's the CEO and really drives the technology development. So, there's a lot of exciting things going on with the company, and we really want to hear about it today. So we're delighted to have Larry, and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Great to see you, and appreciate you including us in the podcast. Thank you.
No worries. So I'm going to start really with a simple question is, how did Atrex start? The idea, the brainchild behind the company?
So, as you mentioned, we actually started in 1946. My grandfather and great uncle opened a business out of a garage called Apex. And Apex made arch supports and orthotics, and was more of a regional company. We created the brand Atrex actually in 2005. So we evolved out of a family business. But the brand is only 19 years old at this point.
That's cool. Now, when you talk about Apex, I did read somewhere that was focused very much on diabetic footwear and sort of extra depth footwear. But I do note that Atrex changed direction in terms of the footwear it was producing, probably 20 years ago. But maybe explain us, a little bit about the rationale for that, Larry.
Yeah, so, it's one of the issues with the name Apex is, I don't know if it's this way in Australia, but here in the US, it's a very generic name. So if you opened up in the old days, if you opened up what we call, the yellow pages, you would see 100 Apexes in every community. So the name was a little bit of a liability when we shifted more towards consumer products and technology. As like an OEM manufacturer of orthotics, and then ultimately diabetic footwear, which we entered that market in the 90s, it was okay. But when we started making products for the consumer, we really needed a unique brand. So what originally started as a brainstorming session to name a shoe, we were coming out with our first athletic shoe in I think it was 2003 or 4. We actually created the Atrex name, and that shoe did really well. And ultimately, we rebranded the company to Atrex. And at that point, we started building the consumer footwear line.
So funny how things like that seem to happen all the time. It's just a fairly innocuous name out of a meeting or something. You're like, hey, you know what? I like that. That's great. Let's take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, it takes a life of its own.
Yeah, that's it.
Brand name. once
Yeah,
you've got
me and my brother Evan were sitting. It's so true. We were sitting in a marketing office naming a shoe over 20 years ago, and the movie The Matrix or The Matrix 2 come out. So, I said, that's a cool word. Let's think of a word that sounds like that. And the woman in the marketing department said, "What about Aetrex?" And we wrote it down, and it evolved into Atrex. And then, but we had no idea that 2 years later we would name the company Atrex. So, yeah.
I'm going to have to try and work that into a marketing campaign, by the way, mate, just so you know. Matrix, Aetrex, I like
Matrix, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, when we initially rebranded, we came up with a whole story about something else, but eventually we just told the truth. So,
Now, I did mention your brothers, but Matt and Evan are involved with you. So perhaps you could just explain a little bit about how you three work together, because I really do like the culture of Atrex, and we're a family company here as well, and I love the sort of the family side of Atrex.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, and as you guys know, having been here, my brothers and I are very close. We're really lucky that way. We until recently, we all even lived in the same community, and we're great friends and business partners. Evan and I joined a little before Matt, so I joined in '91, Evan in '94, and we were a pretty small company, so it wasn't like we had a master plan back then of who would oversee what departments. We were only probably about 10 people in the office, and the way it just all happened organically, where we kind of divided up different responsibilities. And when Matt joined, he was really great at sales, so he started in the sales area, and now he oversees all of the business development. And for me, I'm more involved on the technology development side, and then some of the corporate functions like marketing and creative and finance, legal, and some others. But we're partners, and big decisions we make together, and it happens pretty naturally, and we it's been working really well for a long time. So
that's good. Now, this is going to be, I really want to sort of get some information for our customers and about, the technology, because we're starting to roll out a lot of the technology. But one of the things that really caught my attention from the company was actually, it was a post I think you did on LinkedIn, Larry, when I first, and it was all about Aetrex is not a footwear company, it's a technology company. And I think, and this is really, so, obviously there are areas that are very important to us in comfort footwear, fit and cushioning and all that. But, I really want to delve into, what does Aetrex bring to that whole equation, which is very important to us?
Yeah, I mean, technology is at the heart of everything we do. We have over 30 people that do full-time tech development, and AI engineers, computer vision, full stack developers, data processing, a lot of different areas. So for us, really, everything starts with the foot scan, and the development of our footwear and orthotics do come from the learnings and the data from our foot scanning. So, for example, the footwear, the lasts are created using 3D data that we have that helps form healthier lasts for us, and features in the shoes and in the orthotics. A lot of it is influenced by pressure data that we collect. So we have a full line of orthotics and a full line of footwear, but the fleet of foot scanners is at the heart of everything we do, and influences the product decisions we make in all aspects of our business.
So when did you decide to move into foot scanning, Larry? What was the journey? How did it start?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We actually, like anything, it starts sometimes with just an idea. And in 1998, we had the idea to build websites for our customers as a point of differentiation. And I had actually had dinner with a good friend of mine. It was actually this time of year. It was over our Thanksgiving holiday in 1998, and he said he was leaving his business in telecom sales to start making websites. And I said, Dean, I didn't know you know how to do that. And he said, He said, I don't, but I'm going to get a guy who knows. And came back into work the next week, and we started talking about maybe we can do this too. And so in 1999, we launched this big portal of foot health, and we hired some web developers, and we were building websites for our customers. And we really started growing. We grew 40% the next year, and then had a big run of growth, 30 to 40%. But a couple of years later, everybody had a website. So we had all this know-how in terms of foot orthotics, and we had a team of front-end engineers, and we ended up partnering with a small company out of Israel called Atrex. And in 2002, we launched our first foot scanner. We did the software. They made the pressure plate or the hardware. And in 2008, we bought their company so that we could have the whole thing integrated and controlled under one roof. So we actually launched our first foot scanner in 2002. And while we didn't invent the foot scanner, our innovation was bringing it to consumer markets. So before we launched what we initially called the iStep device, foot scanners were only in clinics or hospitals, physical therapy. Nobody had ever successfully brought it to consumer markets. We said, okay, let's mass produce the foot scanner so that we can bring the cost down, integrate it with our orthotic line, and see what happens. And we launched in 2002, and the initial reaction really exceeded expectations, and it's been a really key piece of our business ever since.
I'm just curious. Over here we have a company called the Athlete's Foot, and that's always been one of their thing is you get in there and you get your foot scan done and everything like that. Did you guys work with them with that technology or work against them almost?
We didn't. We actually, we know some of the people there, and they're wonderful people. We actually don't. I think they initially, if I remember right, they worked with another foot scanning company out of France, I believe, when they launched, but they were pretty early too.
Yes.
They've been at it.
Time frame works out about the same, yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
Sorry, my ears pricked up before when you were talking about your team there. You're saying you've got AI developers in there as well. So is that a lot to do with your foot scans? Is this new emerging AI technology? Also, where do you think that's going?
Yeah, I mean, so we have different aspects of our foot scanning device. So we have a footwear recommendation engine called Fit AI that you take a 3D foot scan of your foot and it recommends the right shoes for you, and that uses AI. But AI is in our mobile app products. It's in a lot of different elements of our technology devices.
So, Larry, what does a foot scan do in terms of the 3D foot? What sort of measurements does it provide the customer that they can expect?
So in terms of retail markets and consumer markets, there's two different types of foot scanning technology. One is pressure underfoot, and the other is, and that ties in typically with orthotics or insoles, and the other is 3D, which you want to get a 3D reconstruction of your foot, and that's usually integrated with a shoe with footwear recommendations. For us, we have both. So our current fleet of foot scanners, we have some scanners that are just pressure, some that are 3D, but our flagship product is our Albert 2 Pro, which is the only scanner that integrates pressure and 3D. So very quickly, you can do a pressure test. You can even do a dynamic pressure test and walk across the scanner. And it also can do a 3D scan of your foot that's very highly accurate. It can measure any part of your foot. And then we use AI to help put you in the right shoes and orthotics.
So cool. It was so cool.
It's an incredible scan. We were doing it at a conference, and 15, 20 seconds, and we had people one after the other, having a scan, and everyone enjoyed the experience, which is the main thing, I think.
We've got a scanner in the office over here, and I spent a bit too long playing with that when we first got it. It was a bit of fun. But
Yeah, no, they are great.
It's funny though, the scan, and this is something that consumers maybe don't understand, because I was recently in Singapore and we were doing the foot scanning. It's amazing how many people have a different size left to right foot,
You bet,
and they
mate.
don't know it.
had no idea.
Yeah,
Almost everybody.
exactly.
You know, in U.S. sizes, the difference between a half size is only a sixth of an inch. So
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at how people they can get very excited if you tell them that you're really a 9 instead of an 8.5, but it's only a sixth of an inch. It's tiny. So
Exactly.
most people don't have perfectly symmetrical feet in terms of length and width, and but yeah, we can measure anything. The technology's really come a long way where you can get all different types of girth measurements. And of course, the most important thing is we use AI to just say, okay, these are the best shoes and these are the sizes that you should wear in this shoe. So it might have a particular style that says you should be in a US 10, and in the next style it's a 10.5, and the next one it's a 10. And so it really it uses AI to get you in the right size and in shoes that actually match your foot shape. So, like, for example, my foot is a very low volume foot, and I'm actually in bottom 2% in terms of foot volume. And the scanner will recommend the right shoes for me for low volume feet.
So how is it finding the shoes, Larry? Is it with what people are purchasing after a scan, or are you taking the shoes and scanning them? How does it find those recommendations for, because it's very specific, isn't it? It's like ASICS, style. So how does it do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a combination of both. So we have Fit AI has two different parts to it. One is we call Fit Starter, and with that we analyze the inside of shoes so that we can match. We get, based on sensor data, we can get the three-dimensional characteristics of the shoe and match it to feet. And then after a certain amount of scans that the retailer has, it integrates AI with what we call Fit Genius. So it's a combination between in-shoe analysis and AI to help get you in the right shoe.
And it's interesting. I want to step back a little bit. You say you've measured. Firstly, I saw somewhere you've got about 12,000 scanners in the market in the world now. How many scans do you think you've done, Larry?
So yeah, we probably don't have that many active right now, but there's thousands. We've sold it's 12, 13,000 scanners over the years, and I would say it's probably at least 60 million scans, somewhere around there is what we've done. We initially, the first like 8 to 10 years, they weren't cloud-based, they weren't online. So, when we would do a software update, we'd have to ship out disks for people to, like the old days, right? We had these floppy disks that you'd have to put in and do a software update. So that's why we don't have the exact number, but eventually everybody went online, and over the last 6-7 years, it's a requirement. You have to be online to use the scanner. But in the early days, that didn't really exist that way.
So 60 million scans, and that's interesting because, the principle, no 2 feet are the same, and that's true. I mean, everyone's got different feet. So you must have a lot of knowledge that has changed your thinking about the shape of the shoe or the lasting or whatever that wasn't available before.
For sure, no doubt. I mean, some of it you would think is intuitive when you look at certain shoes and look at feet. You know that they probably don't really match, but yeah, we've learned a lot. And another interesting thing that we've learned is how different feet are in different areas of the world.
Yeah.
So the typical Asian foot is shaped very differently than Scandinavia or the U.S. and I'm sure Australia as well.
Yeah, it's actually funny. You raise a good point when we're talking about you're a size 9 versus a size 8.5. The one you have to be really careful with is when you say you've got a wide feet. You've got to be
Especially to women.
But the reality is in Singapore, and everyone's got wide feet. But there's a good example.
And in some ways it's better to have wide feet, or at least
Yeah, you're more secure.
too wide. Yeah, it is better overall. You have a bigger platform to walk and run from. So
Exactly.
One thing that's very particularly interesting for me and Ben, we've got two small daughters, and our first daughter is nearly 2 years old, and we can't fit her in any shoes. So we've heard that you have a children's platform now to scan and fit them in shoes.
well, it's I miss those days. My kids are much older, but we introduced Tootsie, a fun 3D monster. It's a character. It's actually, the way I describe it is if you've seen Monsters Inc., that movie, it's a character like that we created called Tootsie, and it's such a fun process for the kids. So hopefully we can get that out in Australia because kids just love it. And the goal of this program was to make shoe shopping fun for kids. And I know at least over here in the U.S., you see when we did our research and we would go to some of these retailers, you would see that the parents and store associates trying to get a child on a metal Brannock, and the kids just hated it. And we felt, let's make it fun for the kids instead of an experience like going to the dentist. So we developed this software platform and launched it only a few months ago, but it's really going great. And we have a lot of big retailers in the U.S. Have quickly adopted it and made it a key part of their shoe shopping experience for children.
Mate, well, if you need a couple of little beta testers, we got two for you. So
We'll send them to New York.
We actually had to do that. We had to have a lot of our employees would have to bring in their kids every once in a while as we went through the testing process. But Tootsie's we're really proud of him, and we just actually launched a custom version of a kids software platform for Foot Locker, where we made 4 kids stripers for them, which is also really fun. So the kids program has been a big emphasis for us this year here at Aetrex.
that's great.
See, we need to download. I think we can get a copy or something, so we need to get it on our scanner and
Yes.
have an experiment with it.
Absolutely. I'm shocked we don't already.
So, just a question again for our consumers. I remember seeing you in a presentation where you pulled out the Brannock and you said, this has been the Brannock and the measuring device for the last 100 years. And what we're bringing in is the new generation. So why and what should a customer expect in terms of from the scanning experience and knowledge or intelligence?
Sorry, I just want to jump in just for our listeners. The Brannock device is that little metal thing that when you're at shoe shops and measures how long and wide your foot is.
Exactly.
That thing, you would have seen one. If you don't know what we're talking about, you would have seen one, definitely.
Yeah, so the Brannock device, and hey, for somebody to make something over 100 years ago and still have it in the market, that's an accomplishment because it's over 100 years old. But it was initially created to be a starting point in a store to help fit shoes. So basically, it's a single dimensional length measurement. You can do width on it, but not really accurately. But it's just doing a single dimensional measurement of your foot. And then the idea was the shoe store will go grab a bunch of shoes and you'll start the fitting process. This worked well enough until shoe shopping moved online and in store. So, in the U.S., online shoe shopping has been big for a long time, and I know it's pretty big in Australia now as well. But I was just drinking some water. But picture if you wanted to take this bottle of water and try to find a perfect package for it. It's a 3-dimensional complex shape, and not nearly as complex as a foot. So to take a string measurement of its length and try to get a 3-dimensional package, it wouldn't work. And that's the same thing with feet. Feet, you have all these different complex shapes. And in our presentations, we sometimes will show different feet that are told that they're a women's 8, and just how different they are in terms of shape and width and so many other aspects. And the idea that you can match that just with a single dimensional measurement It created a big problem here where there's massive returns when people shop online. So return rates are typically in the 30 to 35% range, which is bad for the consumer, bad for retailers, terrible for the environment. So the concept of 3D scanning and integrating AI with a product like Fit AI is to try to have a better fit both in store and online.
And would you say fit is probably probably the most important aspect in terms of a comfortable shoe?
Yeah, I would. I would actually. It's certainly the most important starting point.
Yeah.
Having a good fit, and then there's obviously the quality of the shoe and
Yeah.
the materials used. But fit is incredibly important to have comfort and injury prevention. When you think about playing sports or running, not only do you want to be comfortable, a good fit makes it more likely to prevent injuries. And yeah, we customize shoes with our orthotic line as well. So that combination of what we try to do, get you in the right shoe, have an orthotic underfoot to help give you the proper alignment when you walk and run. Hopefully we can keep you comfortable and prevent injuries.
Hey, Larry, I'm just going to throw you under the bus a little bit here, mate. So I know you're not the sales guy, that's your brother, but let's just pretend that I know nothing about comfort shoes, anything like that. Why should I go get my foot scanned?
Well, I mean, so, you want to get your foot scanned just for fit, for all these different things that we've been talking about. So not only will you learn a lot about your feet, and people line up to get scanned, they really enjoy the experience. We can custom select an orthotic underfoot based on your arch type and your pressure points, and we can get you in the right shoe. And we can teach you what type of foot you have and help you so even the next time when you're shopping for shoes, you'll know what to look for.
If we go to the Aetrex Orthotics, I know it was a big training curve for our customer service team here because there is such a wide array of SKUs. So when you talk an Aetrex orthotic, you have what's called a neutral orthotic based on your pressure, and then you have one with a posting and then one with a met dome and then all the different sizes. So why have you gone down the path of having the different types and the different sizes? What benefit does that provide to the consumer?
Yeah, I mean, it's because feet are so different. So, just to use a simple example, a flat foot versus a high arch foot. And about 20-25% of feet are on the lower arch or flat side, and 20% or so are high arch feet. They have such different needs. So somebody that overpronates and has flatter feet, they're more susceptible for biomechanical issues like plantar fasciitis, where anybody listening, if you ever have pain first thing in the morning when you wake up, that typically is tied to something like overpronation or feet that roll in. Somebody with a higher arch foot, it's a more rigid foot, and they need more cushioning and accommodation. So we knew from being in foot scanning and being in orthotics that those feet have very different needs. So all of our orthotics come in 4 different configurations based on your arch type and your pressure points. So with this quick foot scan, we can get you in the right orthotic, and it's only 4 options. So it's for a retailer, it's not that difficult to stock, but it's based on your arch type and your pressure points, and this gives us a much higher likelihood to prevent injuries and to have the consumer leaving the store in comfort.
Lovely.
That's great.
And another customer or group that I recently read that you launched into was 500 Bauer ski shops. So what do you do with them?
So yeah, hockey is. By the way, is hockey big in Australia? I don't even.
Not so big,
Yeah,
but
not really.
it's a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big sport in North America and other parts of the world too. But when people wear skates, that's where the 3-dimensional aspect of skate fitting is so important. So we worked with Bauer Hockey, who's the dominant skate player in the world, and we developed a new scanner for them, or a new software package, I should say, for them that gets you in the right skate based on the volume of your feet. And we also co-developed with Bauer a hockey orthotic, and it's been going great. It's typically what hockey players want is they basically want total contact as much as possible in the skate where there's where the foot is matching the skate as perfectly as possible. And so for that type of athlete, it's really key to get the right fit, not just in terms of length, but in terms of the three-dimensional characteristics.
Amazing.
Of the foot, yeah.
Amazing. It's quite a difference from just the footwear, the sit and fit footwear shop anyway, which is very interesting in terms of where this technology can go. Larry, what do you think is the next stages, or what's going to come in terms of the technology and footwear?
That's the fun part about technology, where it's never static. So we're working on a lot of new products that we're going to launch next year. So we're excited about that. We're involved in other aspects of technology. So we're coming out with a new line of 3D printed insoles.
Cool.
We're in the mobile scanning space as well. Of course, in mobile, you don't have the same level of control that you do for a 3D scanner. So this isn't quite as advanced as what we can do in store with a 3D scan, but it's certainly part of the future as well. And a lot of other things that we'll show you the next time we're together. So
very exciting. That's what we love about Aetrex. It's our technology. It's our fun technology aspect of the business, and customers are also loving it. So I think it's been a fantastic talk. I really do appreciate your time, Larry. In terms of Aetrex in Australia and New Zealand and Singapore, we have a lot of the footwear products in the market now and the insoles, and we're starting to roll out scanners into different retail stores. So you'll be able to see on our websites where the scanners are placed. And I do recommend that, if you're close to one of the stores, go and get your foot scanned. It's an amazing experience. As was said, it's 15 seconds, and you can even leave your socks on if you're so pleased, which is a good thing. But it gives you great information. So we really do appreciate the opportunity, and we really are excited about the future with Aetrex. Thanks very much, Larry.
Cheers, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
thank you, guys. Can't wait to get back there. It's a wonderful place you live.
Come anytime you want. It's beautiful summer now if you want to get out of the cold.
Come over and defrost, mate.
My son did a semester at the University of New South Wales, so I've been there a couple of times, but boy, he loved it, and can't wait to get back.
Good stuff, mate. Well, we can't wait to see ya.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us on the Comfort Walk and Talk by the Comfort Co. If you like this episode and you got something out of it, we would love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite channels and never miss a step on your journey to comfort.
Please follow us for more insights and updates on the Comfort Co social media channels. Until the next episode, see you later.